looking for that. Chugga chugga. Wait, what? Why is that? Huh. Check it? Okay, whatever. Where's the volume? I need the volume. Check. I'm tired. I just woke up. And all my settings are messed up here because I'm still working on stuff. Check. Damn, that's I don't know. There we go. That's better, I guess. I don't know. We'll work with that. Actually, I could do this. Check. There you go. Yeah, the music a little bit. All right. Hey, there we are. Hey, 1 minute to go. We'll see what's going on over here at the Microsoft. I need me my coffee con leche con syrup. Maple syrup coffee is the best coffee, son. I'm just saying. If you never had maple syrup in your coffee, and then you're not part of the conversation. I'm so not awake yet that my glasses don't work yet. You ever do that? I think my glasses are actually broken. Actually, that's not true. My brain's broken. Glasses is fine. Glasses didn't change. Word, Elite Series 3? You know what? If they say Elite Series 3, we have haptic feedback, and we have 59 more flappy slap paddles on the back. A paddle for each finger. Add 2 more paddles. Wait, how many? Like, how many hands? So it'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can add 2 more paddles. So it'd be 6 paddles on the back. Wouldn't that be dope? But then you couldn't hold the controller anyway, because you'd be pressing the button all the time, unless you squeeze it on the sides. And then you get that. This is an older controller. But this is the first revision of the Xbox One controller where they put the actual headphone jack. Dumb. Why would you not have that? But yeah. The launch ones did that, and this one doesn't. But the new Xbox Series controllers don't do that, because they're like, yeah, they're better. Honestly, that's all they need to do is put haptic feedback. Not the trigger stuff, not the tension trigger crap. Then you don't do that. Just the haptic feedback. That's all. Just the Super Rumble. That's it. Oh, here we go. Shh. Wait, who?
For what I hope will be a conversation for all of us, albeit virtually, as part of this year's CES.
How come I never heard of this guy?
For so many years,
Brad Smith.
CES has really played a remarkable role in bringing us all together and showing the world where technology is going. Showing people literally the future. Well, this year I'd like to use my time to have a conversation about where technology is going, but also talk about what it means for all of us in the industry. What it means when we think about the promise of technology and the perils as well. And perhaps most importantly, the responsibilities that it will mean we all need to work together to address. It's amazing to me when I look back at the history of CES. The very first one was in 1967. It was in New York.
Wow.
Only 14 exhibitors. But
I didn't know it was that long ago.
There were more than 4,000 exhibitors, and more remarkably still, there were more than 170,000 people who attended. Let's hope that this year, with this virtual format, we can reach even more people and connect together. But it's not just about the connections that this gives us the opportunity to make. It's about the role that CES has always played at the cutting edge of technology. In the 1970s, CES literally introduced the world to this new consumer device. It was called the VCR.
The microwave.
In the
Oh,
1980s,
sorry.
it did the same thing with the camcorder, and in the 1990s, it was the DVD. And in 2000,
All video.
all of us at Microsoft
All video
were proud
formats.
because it was at CES
It's all video.
where we had the opportunity to show to the world our new device called the Xbox. For 11 years, Bill Gates came and represented Microsoft and gave our keynote. And it's interesting when I look back about what Bill spoke about when he was here. In so many ways, it was about technology getting not just more powerful.
That's right. Phil's not on Microsoft anymore. He's
Think about the
Xbox.
phone that we carry in our pocket today. A phone that couldn't possibly have fit in somebody's pocket when it was first invented.
Phone.
But sometimes technology gets bigger as well. Think about the screens for our TVs on our walls, on our homes today.
We got pretty
Think
big
about how
screens.
much bigger they are than when CES was born.
He's pretty right.
And that, in a way, is what Bill talked about in 2000.
Where is his microphone?
Because in his last keynote, he talked about the cloud. The cloud is so big that I
This
couldn't
guy,
possibly show it to you on a stage.
it sounds like
What I
a
can
clown.
is
Morning,
you
Bridget.
to the cloud itself. Because 2 years after Bill's last keynote,
I mean, not like a.
and have built ever since
I'm not.
on literally the infrastructure that supports everything.
Like, if someone's playing a clown and he's like, "Hi, kids," this is what he sounds like. If the clown takes off his makeup and he's talking, trying to talk, he just has the cadence of like a cartoon character, basically. But yeah. We know you struggle to hear him. I could turn it up.
The view may be generic, but this is actually one of my favorite places in the world. Why? Well, I think it represents the most important infrastructure of the 21st century. This is a part of Microsoft's Columbia data center campuses. These house the computers that fuel our lives. There are more than 20 buildings, each large enough to house 2 commercial aircraft. They fill 2 million square feet.
Whoa.
They're spread out over 300 acres.
Whoa.
But what's really interesting is what's inside.
Yo, where's Sony's?
Something that almost no one ever gets to go see.
Hey, where's?
But come with me. It's COVID times. I need to wear my mask, but I'll show you around.
You gotta wear earplugs too. You see how loud that junk is? It's like a giant refrigerator. Actually, that's exactly what it is. Where's Sony's farm? Where's that?
Well, as we walk around, first I've just spared you not just a metal detector, but what is probably the longest and most substantial security checkpoint you'll ever find on planet Earth.
That's right.
But what is so interesting to me is what you see here. This is just a glimpse.
If I could just have one of those blades.
That we find in room after room.
There's like 4
and building
Xboxes
after
in there.
building on these campuses. There are almost 500,000 of these server computers. They store as much data as you would find in more than 50,000 libraries of Congress. And I think that captures so well how this really is the infrastructure for almost everything that we're engaged in today. The way you live your life, the way you do your work.
Very nice
the
cable
way
management.
research and development are all moving forward. It all relies on this enormous amount of data and this enormous amount of computing power. So you just see here so much innovation all connecting together. But actually, that's not the end of the story. Come back outside and I'll show you one more really interesting piece.
Kids. All right. We don't need all that music. Come on now. That's the refrigerators.
These campuses represent not only the most advanced digital infrastructure in the world, but some of the most advanced energy infrastructure as well. Why? Well, first, if we ever lose power from the electrical grid,
What's up, Bonds?
we need
Good
to
morning.
keep the computers running. There are more than 19,000 battery cells, each like the battery under the hood of your car, that will do just that. And at the same time that that happens, these big electrical generators will start operating as well. In fact, there's more than 140 of these generators on these campuses. Each of these will power the equivalent of 3,000 homes. The good news is with the latest advances in emissions technology, they actually give out less emission than a typical lawnmower you might use in your backyard. Each today runs on diesel fuel. In fact, there are tens of thousands of gallons of diesel fuel stored here, but not 10 years from now. We've said that by the end of this decade, each one of these needs to go. They'll be replaced by either new generators that run on hydrogen power or new advanced fuel cells.
Oh, all right.
And in that, you see this extraordinary intersection between digital technology, energy technology, environmental science, and the need for innovation. This, in so many ways, is the physical embodiment of our mission to empower every person
Bond says,
and every organization.
"Oh, the fancy show and tell means nada when the weather do its thing. Lag, disconnect, crash service." True that, but that's more on the
One of the most remarkable
That's the
things
delivery
about
service.
because that's just a slight
That's like the IP, like AT&T, for instance. We have the way they ran their cables was hot garbage, and so
more countries
the actual power grid interferes with the internet signal in our neighborhood. So it's
there are new perils arising as well. And governments, quite rightly, increasingly are asking us as an industry not only what they think they should do.
Bond says, I'm not impressed. This is where the monthly subscription went. That's just that's the Azure stuff. That's not like Game Pass. I mean, it's in there, but it's not,
People
you know.
or communities or countries may feel they face. Think about the recent holiday season. It was dominated not just by COVID and Christmas, but by cybersecurity issues as well. We all learned about the first victim, a company called SolarWinds, and how that attack spread from one company to other companies and to governments and other nations around the world. And here too, I think there are some important insights that we can draw from the history of our industry and the issues that have emerged. Because as our industry was maturing initially in the 1980s, cybersecurity first burst onto the scene as well. Interestingly, it was first an issue that people thought about as something likely to involve a teenager in a bedroom, and for good reason. Literally, that was the first image that people saw.
Show it.
Because in the 1980s,
I didn't do it. Bridget says, are they on fiber optic cables that are under the sea? Probably.
Shall we play a game?
Oh, gosh.
But as people were drawn in by this question, it opened their eyes.
Oh, are they going to have war games on Xbox exclusive?
Among the people who saw the movie and asked that question
That'd be dope.
was the President of the United States.
Jimmy
It was
Carter.
on a
No.
Friday afternoon
Was that Reagan?
1983, that
Reagan.
President Ronald Reagan helicoptered to Camp David. On his mind, in his briefing book, was a set of issues around international relations in a particular nation state. But little did he expect, as he sat down to watch an evening movie, that the issues would become even bigger than he thought.
Star Wars. Oh, boy. Oh, wow.
On Friday afternoon, the helicopter would come into the
Hold up, this
White
is-
House South
it's kinda
Grounds.
interesting.
The Reagans would get to Camp David about 45 minutes later, and then on Friday night, the Reagans would show a movie in their cabin, and they had a lot of friends who recommended what the popular movies of the time were. War Games was one.
Shall we play a game?
How about global thermonuclear war?
The magnitude of the event that it portrayed was such that no one knew what to say, and finally Mrs. Reagan said, well, could that really happen? This was at the height of the time that President Reagan was working hard with Mikhail Gorbachev to reduce nuclear weapons, which he thought threatened the very existence of mankind.
The following Wednesday, there was a big meeting to discuss a new nuclear missile and some arms talks with the Russians. And in the middle, Ronald Reagan puts down his index cards and he says, has anyone seen this movie War Games? And then he turns to General John Vesey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and says, General, could something like this really happen? Could, just anybody hack into our most secure computer? And he says, Mr. President, the problem is much worse than you think. This led to the first national security decision.
Okay. History of freaking The U.S. government freaking out because of a movie. That's what this is. And it would be an actor who would be like, hey, I used to do this.
We live in a time when in so
Bond
many
says,
ways, science is now caught
when the local utility department actually lay cable and do a good job on make care, he could have walked away from the damn terminal. True.
in so many ways, War Games was important not just because it showed engineers what computers could do, but it showed all of us and people in government the problems we would need to work together to solve.
Bond says typical ego came into play. Why even have that be a query? Do you want to play a game? Exactly. Who programmed that game?
We constantly need to keep imagining what comes next. And in this instance, in the year 2021, it's not a movie that we're learning from, it's real life. And the real life of the past month and the attacks that we've had to address, I think, are of critical importance. In some ways, I think it really speaks to us in two very critical ways. First, what are the rules of the road that are going to guide us all as a planet? And second, what does it mean for us as an industry in terms of what we need to do? The issues around the rules of the road, in my view, couldn't be more important. Because let's consider what we've seen with the SolarWinds-based attack. Governments have spied on each other for centuries. It would be naive to think or even ask them to stop. But we've long lived in a world where there were norms and rules that created expectations about what was appropriate and what was not. And what happened with SolarWinds was not. Why? Because this wasn't a case of one nation simply trying to spy on or hack its way into a computer network of another. It was a mass, indiscriminate global assault on the technology supply chain that all of us are responsible for protecting. It represented a vector of attack that first distributed roughly 18,000 packages of malware on organizational networks literally around the world. It is a danger that the world cannot afford. We saw this in Ukraine over the last 4 years. We saw
Bond says a unsecured DoD terminal with a direct access to the DARPA. Then a knee-jerk scramble to fix what was plainly a sloppy setup.
Rightly said, this is not something that is acceptable. And in a similar way, we need to come together as an industry, and we need to use our collective voice to say to every government around the world that this kind of supply chain disruption is not something that any government or any company should be allowed to pursue. And it's not the only example of the new issues that we need to work together to address. Think about what else that we have seen over the last year. We have lived through the biggest pandemic in a century, and what did some people use that pandemic to do? To launch cyber attacks against hospitals, against the public health sector, against the World Health Organization, against the first line of critical responders. This too should be off limits in a time of peace, just as it is for the use of conventional weapons in a time of war. This is a set of the issues that we will need to work with governments to address, to work with non-governmental organizations to address, but I think it starts with us, because if we don't use our voice to call on the governments of the world to hold to a higher standard, then I ask you this, who will? So I hope we'll come out of this CES and move forward with this as one of our clarion calls for the future. But it's not just about the rules of the road. Perhaps even more than that, the last month has shown us how we're all going to need to work together in new ways, how we're all going to need to change in some ways to protect the cybersecurity of the planet. Because when you look at the issues around SolarWinds and its malware and how things spread, it's a powerful reminder that threat intelligence, data about cyber attacks, really exists in so many silos today. Silos within an individual government, silos within an individual company.
I think what he's
Silos in the
doing,
public sector, silos in
because
the private sector, and yet
yeah, he's Microsoft. He's the president of Microsoft. He
that the only way
knows
to protect the future
stuff.
is to
He knows what's up,
understand the
right?
threats of the
And so I
present.
think he's trying to let us know on the down low, not really,
Share data
to
in new ways.
like, hey,
I'm struck because
something's
in so many
happening.
ways
Something's
there's
gonna
a
happen.
very Similar problem
I mean, something did happen,
contributed
but
to 9/11 2 decades ago. When the 9/11 Commission came together and looked at its post-mortem, it found
Bond says so. He bypassed all the safeguards.
people did not share data.
Yeah, I
Did
will
not
take
share
500 for another
information
bombastic
across the
half-baked
United States
exertion energy.
And what was true for one government then is true for all of us collectively today. We need to move, as the 9/11 Commission said, from a culture where people only gave others information when they had a need to know. And in the words of that commission, change the culture so that people feel a need to share. Not everything, of course. We must protect personal privacy. We must think about the appropriate division and roles between the public and private sectors. But these are the questions that we need to address in the year and the decade ahead. If the last month and the perspective from history teaches us anything, it's this. The best time to have a 9/11 commission is before the next 9/11. Let's learn from the past. Let's imagine the future. But most importantly, let's put ourselves to work to take new steps collectively. As we think back to war games,
What's this guy's
I
name
think
again?
there's another completely different aspect that's also really worth our thinking about.
John Smith or something?
Because the other part of the movie
Bond says, I go make breakfast. I can't
story
continue to listen slash
of
watch.
humanity surrendering
True. Go eat your breakfast. Enjoy it.
was the real threat
Eat it slow.
to the American.
Savor every bite.
And in a
And I'll
similar
probably
way,
still be here
here too,
when you're done.
we actually see the risk of
But thanks for
science
popping in, Bonds. I
catching
appreciate
up
it.
with science fiction, of technology outpacing our ability to exercise control. And so as we think about the decade ahead, as we think about AI, and all of the promise of artificial intelligence in so many ways,
Yeah.
we have to think as well
Boston
about
Dynamics.
the new guardrails that we need to create so that humanity remains in control of our technology. I think it's really interesting to put this in the context of an event like CES.
Oh.
The news headlines are always about the new features that we as an industry have created.
Right.
These kinds of exciting product innovations will always be the heart of CES.
Uh-huh.
But increasingly, I think people around the world are looking at us. And they want to know not only about our heart, but about our soul.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean this. People want to know what are the safeguards that we're building around technology
Yeah.
to protect against the perils that it can create.
Yeah, Sony.
And we're seeing this so clearly in very concrete scenarios around artificial intelligence.
Remember that hack?
We see it, for example, around facial recognition. People appreciate
Bond says,
and
egg
think
omelet,
that
oatmeal
the
top with a mixed fruit, banana, and hot cocoa with cheesy toast. Nice. That's a breakfast for champs.
and reunite a family.
I'm going to enjoy it
All
metaphorically,
worried
imaginatively.
about the perils of facial
Thank you for
recognition,
sharing.
About the risks that it can create for the protection of people's fundamental rights. And what's true for facial recognition increasingly is true for a variety of other technology scenarios as well. For example, something like machine learning and its use in a way that can create the risks of bias and discrimination in a whole variety of different commercial settings. Or say, the very scenario that we saw in war games itself. The risk that humanity will lose control of the weapons of war.
I think
Indeed, we live in a decade where hypersonic weapons and artificial intelligence can make possible the very scenario that captivated President Reagan in 1983.
I think he's saying all this stuff because crazy man's still in office.
Industry
And
has
it's like,
the
it could happen.
opportunity to
He tried to scare us.
to ensure that humanity retains control of the computers that we create.
Yeah.
These are all among the challenges that we're going to need to come together to address this year and in each of the years that follow.
Mm-hmm.
As we start a new year,
Yeah.
I think it's a time to think about the road ahead. And I also think it's a time to remember that there are so many challenges and reasons to be optimistic.
I still don't know where the
That
microphone
if
is.
we come together and do work well, it can be a road that
It might be
leads
like
to a
behind
brighter
his
future.
head, or
Whenever I think about a big challenge, I also find it helpful to draw some inspiration.
it might just be in his
some
jacket.
other successes of the past. And I think one of the successes that should speak to all of us in this country and around the world this month and this year, it is a success and some messages that also came from the decade that gave birth to CES. Because the 1960s were not only
gosh,
a
this just
decade of
keeps going and
advances in
going.
great consumer technology, even more, they were advances that started with a very different goal in mind. A huge goal. A goal that an American president set for the United States in 1962. It was President John F. Kennedy. At a time when few thought it possible, he put a stake in the ground and said that the United States
We're going
would
to the
go
moon.
to an end.
Bond says day 2 of trying to figure out how to have Gershwin Impact actually install on my PC. Or Gershwin Impact, is that a game or what is that? I don't even know what that is. Gershwin Impact.
At Rice University in Texas.
Bridget says, if we knew the challenges we face daily in
Take a look.
to the remind structures, get out of bad stuff. Yeah, he said all that stuff. I'm sorry. If we knew the challenges we face daily in retrospect to the demise of our infrastructure, we would not want to get out of bed in the AM.
That goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we're willing
The
to
problem,
accept.
I mean,
One we are
sure,
postponed.
but here's the problem with what
It's remarkable
he's saying
to look back at that speech and
is that the system isn't set up for that.
of ambition that was set by the president and pursued by a
That's
nation
why you think he got offed.
of the world.
That's one of the
And I
reasons
think
why.
that the lessons that come
'Cause,
out
you
of
know,
that speech and that
The
journey
system isn't set up for that. The system is like, yo, we in charge.
are two other things that in some ways
You
are
know?
even more important as we meet virtually in 2021. The first is this. When humanity finally first orbited the moon in
I'm out of
December
coffee.
1968, it was a terrible time. It had been a difficult year. It had been a year in the United States that had witnessed not just violence in the street, but the assassination of two of the country's great leaders, Martin Luther King and Robert F. Kennedy. It was a time when the days on planet Earth were dominated by all of the divisions between us. But what did people learn when they got to the moon? What was really important was not the rocks that they would ultimately pick up when a lunar lander landed a year later. It was the ability to look back at Earth itself, to see the planet that the astronauts had come from. And more than anything, to realize this, that despite all of the differences that people discussed every day, there was also a common bond for everyone on planet Earth. That, I think, is a powerful lesson for all of us as we create technology to serve the world in January of 2021. But there was one other aspect that I think in some ways was more prescient still. Because if you go back to John F. Kennedy's speech at Rice University in 1962, there is one slice of it that he could have been providing not just to the people of his time, but to the people of ours. And not just to the world, but to all of us in our industry in particular.
We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man.
Almost 5 decades later, there are those 4 words that echo down the ages. technology has no conscience. It was true then, it is true today, it has been true in every era of technology. Technology has no conscience, but people do, and we do. And as an industry, we must exercise our conscience. For all of us, as individuals, in companies and as an industry, every day when we go to work, we will decide whether technology is used for good or for ill. That is our opportunity, that is our challenge, but more than that, that is our responsibility to ensure that the technology that we create serves the world. Thank you.
Yay, that was the best ever. Bon says, I see the email you just sent. My Microsoft, I do not pay your monthly asking. Also fix the glitches on Tetris Connected for PC. Tetris Connected. Bridget says, everyone should watch the Robert Kennedy documentary on Netflix. It's so enlightening. So, that was it? Come on, son. Oh, that was bad. Oh, I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't anything. Ugh, okay. I can't believe this. Where's my damn mouse? I want to get out of here. Stop it. Shut up. Shut up and shut up. Go back again. Microsoft. Is that it? That was horrible. Golly. They gonna get smashed for that one. They gonna get smashed. You can see all the stuff I watch. They gonna get smashed for that one. Ugh. And the funny thing is, it's like you see, like, oh, Sony, like, oh, look at our new car, you know, or look at this, look at that, right? Look, we have innovation TV. Look at our new TV, and like, yeah, that's cool, but what he's talking about is that's the clear difference of where Microsoft is and where Sony is. Sony's like, yeah, we trying to, here, yo, buy this, yo, here. I mean, it is the consumer electronics show, right? So here's electronics for consumers, right? That's cool. Sexy new TV. There's a whole story behind the sexy new TV with Sony. Sony's tripping right now. I mean, they tripping all the time, but Bond says, almost 15 minutes of archival footage to move more units. Nah, that was more of a AI technology. Look at our farms, our Azure farms speech. That was, I mean, because they have computers, they got Surfaces, they got the Surface Studio 29 or whatever it's called. They have stuff, but, you know, Yellowstone, what's going on? Hey, it's been a minute. Yes, it has been a long time. Appreciate you popping in. We just watched the Microsoft thing, if you want to call it that. It was a history lesson, which was, I mean, knowledge is cool. History is interesting. And the dude wasn't wrong. But, you know, the internet of today is more about sexiness. Not like, oh, look at the boobies. I'm talking about, whoa, yo, that TV is see-through, but it's not. Like, how? How they do that? Or, yo, that train is levitating. How? Oh, you know? Or you see all the new electric. I saw the Chevy. They had a Chevy keynote, and they have like 1 billion electric vehicles. They're like the Hummer, and then a lot. They have a lot. I was like, wow. The Cadillac, the Cadillacs, the Cadillac EVs. I was looking at the Cadillac EV. It was, they have a sedan and then they have a, SUV. I was like, yeah, that's, Tesla could go kick rocks right about now because that Caddy is looking nice. You know what I'm saying? Sexy. That's what it was, sexy. What we just saw was a response to what happened Wednesday, last week. Basically, everything, like, certain companies are going to be like, yo, we got to talk about this. We can't just ignore it. Certain companies are like, yo, we ain't got really nothing to say, or they're on the wrong side, so they don't want to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, let's just try to ignore it. Let's just move past it and heal. It's like, no. So while it was boring, quote unquote boring, that's the lane they chose to drive down, because you can't just witness something and just not say nothing when it's that important and that dramatic and that, whatever the word is. Bond says web TV, Netflix, it could have been. Jellostone says, holy, I have been following you since 2017. Wow. Appreciate, I know, right? 4 years. Well, 3. It just started. This year just started. But no, I appreciate it. I need more. I only have 64 followers. I think I need to try harder. I need more subs on YouTube. Electron Band. Let me put the whatchamacallit. I'll put the video, the YouTube video in chat. Copy. And paste. And that's my YouTube. Well, that's this specific video, but you can follow if you would. I mean, you don't have to. I think I need to try harder. Every time I watch like a YouTube video, they say, remember, hit the like and follow button, and I'm like, oh yeah, I always forget, and it's just a simple click, and I like, but I think I want to try to, I don't know, try to be more proactive in that stuff. So I guess peddling the things that I do, sure. But like I said, I'm not pressuring. No ads, no sponsors, so it's all good, But I want to see. Let me pull up that whatchamacallit, the Chevy one. The Chevy one was crazy. That's right. I'm gonna go on my history because I got nothing to hide. Look, see, look. Where's the Indiana Jones? Where's the Chevy one? I was watching this artist, TK. I guess that's how you say it. Here it is. That's a pretty good song. You Sad, that's a pretty good song. I'm not gonna play it because
Hello.
copyright.
Welcome to CES.
But this is pretty good. All right, we could turn this off.
At General Motors, our vision for the future is a world with 0 crashes, 0 emissions, and 0 congestion. The key to unlock that vision is electric.
So this is a better keynote than what we just watched. We don't need the volume.
And the GM Ultium platform.
But so they had Ultium. So this whole presentation was run in Unreal Engine. The backgrounds, all that's all CG. It's pretty cool. I was like, oh, okay. Also, they say it in here, but they say they're gonna use Unreal Engine in their software in their vehicles. So like they have like cars like changing lanes and all this stuff. All the UI for the car. Unreal. I'm like, oh snap. What was that? Gears of War in my car? Pretty dope. But it's like I was like, oh okay. I mean, yeah, they're years behind Elon Musk and Tesla, but what they did was smart because they waited and they said, oh, let's see what's up, and it looks like they're doing it right. Although are they 2 motors each? Is that what it looks like, right? Yeah, that looks like 2 motors. Every vehicle has 2 motors. I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I guess all their vehicles are going to be all-wheel drive, which I guess makes sense. And then, yeah, they just have a lot of, names and keywords and all that stuff. It's dumb. But come on, let's get to the good part, which is I don't care about Super Cruise. Where's the Chevy? There's the Hummer. There's the Hummer. All right, so check it though. Look at that Hummer. Right? I mean, that's CG right there, but look at that. That's not CG. Look at the Hummer, and then you think about the Cybertruck, and I'm like, I think I might get the Hummer though. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Hummer look alright if it's not like, $79,000. Check. What do you mean you can't hear me? Turn up your ears. Chaba. Uh-oh. Check. The accelerator, and once you reach, I don't know what's going on. It looks like it's working. Bridget, what have you done? Check. Anyway. Boom. Oh yeah. So yeah. Oh, this is it. That's the next one's coming up is the Chevy Lyric. Yo. Come on, son. That compared to a Tesla? Come on, son. I'm all in on the Lyric, son. See? Look at that. Well, Fortnite. Look at that car. That's sexy. Look at that. Look at that. I might have to say, Trailey Bailey, I might have to say, listen, it's time to retire, girl. Time for the Lyric. You know what I mean? It's a Cadillac Lyric. Oh, boy. So what? Nice shoes. Show it. Show it. Show it. I'm sorry. I didn't show you the actual Lyric. There's the Lyric. Oh, yeah. So nice. Anyway, I'm done. That Microsoft thing got me all Lyric. I like it. I like it. I like that. I like it a lot. I like that car. I like it. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta go and wash my truck now because I think she. Okay, I'm done. That sucked. Anyway, I guess I'm done for well, let's see what Engadget's talking about. Oh. Whoa. Focus. Sounds like Arnold a little bit, don't it? A little bit. Do they all sound like that from Austria? I'm just saying. Deep voice. Looks like a big man. I'm just saying. Okay. Well, that was eventful. Not really. But yeah. Boop. Yeah. That's it for the stream. Appreciate you, Bonds. Appreciate you, Yellowstone, for jumping in. Been a minute. Yeah. I got nothing else. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see if this is actually working here. There it is working. Yay. Okay. And we pause it. Yeah. I'm going to try to stream more often. When stuff is popping off or whatever, but I'm off this week so I can do it. But when I'm not off, then I can't really do it. And also, I'm still trying to fix my studio up. Maybe I'll stream me painting the wall. You guys want to watch paint dry? I mean, that's something we can do. Doesn't seem like it's interesting, but I mean, we could do that. I think, we could do that. But yeah. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a good morning. Have a delicious breakfast, Bonds. Yellowstone. Have a good day. Bridget, I'm coming in. Be prepared. Beeper. I'm coming. All right, guys. Till to wait.